I'm Spencer Mazyck, and joining me now is lawyer turned health and wellness coach, Grandinetti. She is also a yoga instructor who provides holistic health and nutrition advice to busy professionals. Welcome, Megan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Spencer.
All right, so I want to begin first by asking you, where did you practice law before you decided to take a break from it back in June of this year?
I started my career at Cleary Gottlieb straight out of law school. I worked there for about 2.5 years, and then I was looking for a bit of a lifestyle change, a little bit of a change in pace, so I moved to Davies, Ward, Phillips & Weinberg. It's a Canadian firm with a small New York office.
So, and how long did you practice in total, would you say?
A little under 2.5 years there, so a little under 5 years total.
Under 5 years total. Then tell us a little bit about your experience at both firms. Would you say that you enjoyed practicing law?
To an extent, yes. There were things about practicing law that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the research and the writing and the analytical thinking, all of that. The things I didn't enjoy, I would say, were the stress-related issues.
Well, and I understand that you just started developing health issues as a result of some of the stress. You even call them your dirty health secrets. Can you tell us what some of them were?
Well, for starters, I had high blood pressure. Like, I've always been really into healthy eating and exercising, and I went to the doctor one time, and I had to leave work to go to the doctor, and it took me like just every effort to actually leave the office and get there. I got there, my blood pressure was through the roof, and they said, you know, this is really not healthy for you. You really need to see your primary care physician, et cetera, et cetera. So like I had to monitor my blood pressure for about a year after that.
Well, and that was related to the stress associated with work, because sometimes they say high blood pressure is hereditary, so there's not anything you can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has high blood pressure, but he also has heart disease and all kinds of other problems. It's not hereditary in my case. My blood pressure is generally very low.
Okay, so what were some of the other health issues?
Gastrointestinal distress, I'm going to be honest.
All right, that's the way we like it, is honesty is good.
As a health coach, you get perfectly comfortable in talking about things like people don't want to talk about. But yeah, definitely had a lot of stomach issues all of the time. I was really sick.
You also had immune issues with your immune system, as well as sleep deprivation.
Yeah, I mean, sleep deprivation is just part of the equation, but the immune system, I had no immune system. I would catch the cold that was going around the office. I caught pneumonia at one point. I got sinus infections at least 2 or 3 times a year. My immune system was in pretty bad shape. So
are you saying all of these health issues, though, were directly related to your work as a lawyer?
They weren't directly related to it, but there was definitely a correlation in the fact that when I was working long periods, I would get really stressed out, and I would go on these amped up routines of getting through it, and then the minute I finished, you know, my 3-month deal or my 1-year deal or whatever, the minute I had a break, that's when I would get sick. My body would shut down and say, I've had enough.
Yeah, it's like your body was building up resistance during the time that you were going through it, and then once you got a chance to relax, it said, okay, now we're done. Right,
and it's all the adrenaline and all the cortisol and everything that, you know, pumps through. It's the fight or flight response. So I was fighting and fighting and fighting to get through the rough hours and the crazy deals and everything, and then, you know, I would just relax, and then everything would shut down.
You also said that your personal relationships were affected because of your work. How so?
First of all, you know, my friends and family who aren't lawyers, I definitely felt a space between them. And it's not because, you know, they weren't supportive of me or they didn't care about what I was going through, but they just didn't understand, you know, how hard it is and the pressure that you're under as an attorney and the crazy hours and all that stuff. But I also distanced myself from them because I found that I couldn't relate to them as much anymore because they were working 9 to 5, and I was like, what's that like? You know, what's that like, really?
That's a dream for me.
Yeah. And in terms of romantic relationships, I was in a bad relationship for a long time, and I just didn't leave it because I didn't have the effort to go out and date someone else.
It was like a relationship of convenience.
Yeah, it was very convenient, and I stayed in it much longer than, you know, my healthy mind says I should have.
So Megan, tell me this though. When did you come to the realization though that these health issues were interconnected with your work, with your job, that they were really happening because of your job?
I wouldn't necessarily say they were happening because of my job. I've definitely been through other periods of my life where I've overstressed myself, like in college when I had 2 majors, or in law school when I was busting my butt and studying a lot of hours. And those are the periods when I get sick, you know. And so it's not necessarily being a lawyer in general. It's a lot of self-imposed pressure, and it's the stress. And
okay.
So I realized that a long time ago, and I tried to slow down a couple of years ago. It's actually why I switched to Davies Ward, because I thought working in a smaller office would give me more benefit to have a more flexible schedule and not work on such, pressing matters all the time. And to a certain extent, it did pay off. And, I'm grateful for Davies, and I had a really great time working there and learned a lot, but was able to kind of regain my sanity.
Mm-hmm. Well, in addition to switching firms, what other things did you do to take steps to combat these health issues and the stress that you were facing?
I tried to leave for lunch every day, which sounds like a very small thing, but it's something that really helps. At one point in my career, I was eating 3 meals a day at the office. I would bring my breakfast in, I would eat oatmeal at my desk, and then I'd grab some lunch. I'd eat at my desk while I was working, and then I'd eat dinner at my desk. And that would happen 5-6 nights a week. And it was pretty depressing. So just leaving your desk for lunch is a really small step that you can take that actually helps you a lot.
Because it helps you clear your mind, you get away from your current environment.
Exactly. And then another thing I did, I'm going to say about a year ago, is I started imposing a time that I wanted to leave every day. And I wouldn't stress out if I couldn't make the time, but that was my goal time to leave. And if I had to do work at home after, that was fine. But just making myself leave the office, even though I could have had dinner at the office, or even though I could have had a car home, making myself physically leave the office and finish whatever I needed to do at work at home really made a big difference.
And you probably still couldn't leave at 5 from the 9 to 5 like your friends did.
No, it wasn't 9 to 5.
So tell me, though, how did you arrive finally at the decision in June, as I mentioned, to leave law behind to pursue a career full-time in health and wellness?
It was a long process. I thought about becoming a yoga teacher for a couple of years. I just thought about taking some time off, going to yoga teacher training, and then doing that on the side as an attorney. And then what happened was last summer I was working on a deal. My boss came into my office and he said, I have a new client. I think you're really going to like them. They're, all about health and wellness and yoga and all that stuff that you like. Maybe you should work on this project with me. And I was like, okay. And it turned out to be the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And that's actually the school that I studied through to get my health coaching certification. And it changed my life. It came across my desk and I said, what is a health coach? And then I looked up what a health coach is, and basically a health coach is someone who supports you in making healthy lifestyle, dietary, and wellness changes, and someone who just motivates you to do those things. And I realized that my whole life I'd been doing that all along. I'd been doing that with family, with friends. One of my close law school friends, I made a whole workout plan for her one semester.
Oh, wow.
It's just and it's something that
It
I've
seemed
always
like a natural fit for you.
Yeah, it was really exciting. And
But for the client, though, coming across your desk, you probably would never have thought of it as a career path. Is that true?
No, never.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have seen ads and thought, oh, that sounds great, but I'm never going to do it. But once I, got to know them and the client and the model, and I really fell in love with the idea of it.
What did your family and friends think about your new chosen career path?
For the most part, they've been really supportive. In the beginning, everyone was like, huh?
Did it come as a shock or a surprise to some people?
Yeah, especially I've never been a risk taker. I've always been a person who seeks out stability and acts as a stable person. And, when I was a kid, I actually was sitting on the floor in my parents' den and I had a pile of change. And I said, 1 for the wallet, 1 for the piggy. And that's kind of how I lived my whole life,
Right.
very saved a lot of money, very financially aware, very responsible. And so to take this solid career path, and I did really well at Cleary and I did really well at Davies, and there was definitely a future for me at either of those firms, but to take that solid career path and say, I'm not so sure about this anymore, and go on this radically different thing, people think I'm a little nuts.
Well, you mentioned the pennies and saving in the penny bank, but from a financial perspective too.
Yes.
So were there any concerns about leaving law behind?
Oh, and they're still there, there's still part of me that's nagging in the back of my head saying, okay, you're not making nearly as much as you were as an attorney, and I'm going to tell you a secret. It's probably not a big secret, but teaching yoga does not pay the bills. Not here in New York.
I didn't think so, but you never know. Have some rich clients. Maybe they want personal training. So
yeah.
But but with that though, are you changing your lifestyle so that
Absolutely.
you're better able to save money and put away money? What changes have you made?
I got a roommate for the first time in about 7 years.
Wow. Yeah. That's a big move there. Speaking for myself, I live alone now. So, I mean, yeah, that's a huge move.
Yeah. But, it just solidified my commitment to doing this.
Well, that's good. That's good. The other thing that I want to talk about now, because you said yourself you didn't know what a health coach was when you heard about it. Can you just tell us a little bit more about the services that you offer as a health and wellness coach?
So it's hard to generalize because I work with individuals on an individualized basis. So, for example, if you came to me and said, I want to lose weight, which you don't need to.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'll pay you after the show.
Okay. I would work with you to find ways for you to lose weight that work with your lifestyle. And, it depends person by person. But generally what happens is you come in for an initial consultation. It's free. And after the free consultation, actually, before the free consultation, what you do is you fill out this form, and it asks you a lot of questions that you think are totally unrelated to your health, like, tell me about your relationships, tell me about your job, tell me about your pets,
all kinds. That's interesting.
Yeah, all kinds of questions that are really focused on me getting to know you. And it also asks about what you eat and what your exercise is like, et cetera, et cetera. But once you fill it out, I kind of get a general idea of, where you might want to take the program and areas you might need help. Then we would have our 45-minute consultation. We'd talk it through. And if you decided to be my client and I decided I want you to be my client, then what we do is we'd work together over the next 6 months. We'd meet twice a month. And during those 50-minute sessions, we would talk all about you, what's going on in your life, and what you would like to change for your health. And
it sounds a little bit like therapy in a way.
It is. It's a little bit like counseling, but with a focus on wellness. I always tell people it's also like life coaching with a focus on wellness. And so, we focus on things that you eat and the workouts that you do and everything, or, implementing exercise or good dietary changes. We focus on that stuff for sure. But that's not the sum of the whole parts. So the reason why, I was so sick and my immune system was a mess and I had gastrointestinal distress was because the rest of my life wasn't in order. I was so stressed out. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of clients and I was taking care of partners and I was taking care of everything else, but I wasn't taking care of me. And so for busy professionals especially, they really need to have someone help them figure out how to prioritize, have someone figure out how to help them take care of themselves, because a lot of us work too hard to even care about the most important person in our life, which is us.
So it's not just about your dietary habits, it's also about your peace of mind, really.
Yes, exactly. And so stress reduction is a big thing that I work on with clients. I have a client right now who just opened her own business and she doesn't know what she's doing and she's so stressed out all the time and she's checking her email and she just doesn't even know how to prioritize. So that's one thing that we're working on together is how to make all of that work and also lose a little weight at the same time.
So, Megan, have you had much success in getting clients since you started in June,
well,
right?
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I didn't actually start looking for clients until the middle of August, which was when I was allowed to start taking clients through my program. So really, it's been less than 2 months, and I already have a few clients.
Oh, that's
so
great!
It's exciting.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And are you targeting other attorneys, other business professionals?
Yeah. So my target market is busy professionals, but I feel great working with attorneys since I have been one and I know exactly what it's like to go through it. And I also, I have a special place in my heart for attorneys that don't know how to take care of themselves. And I picture first or second year Megan, and I just want to shake her and be like, you need to do this stuff to take care of yourself.
What about the journey so far? Would you say that it's been a challenging one or one that's been relatively easy?
Both.
Elaborate a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting there. It's been challenging because it's such a radical change, right? To uproot your life. I moved to Florida for a month for my yoga teacher training. I had to figure out a bunch of stuff. And even just logistically, it's very challenging. And also, just as I said, putting that career on hold or putting it on the back burner and saying, I'm done with this for now. I want to try something new. That in itself was terrifying. And taking the plunge was really hard. But once I did it, everything's been really easy. Like it just fits. Everything feels right. Everything. There's a concept called synchronicity. So like everything in the universe is kind of synchronized with what I'm doing.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds kind of yoga crazy, but that's okay.
So, but in your darkest moments, though, in some of the tough times, where did you find the strength and the courage to continue on?
I still have those dark moments. There are days when I want to lie in bed and cry because I'm like, this is too hard. I've never owned my own business before. I don't know the first thing about it, but I'm working through it and I'm seeing some success already, which is really encouraging. But in those dark moments, I don't know. I want to feel inspired. I want to feel passion in my life. And this is where my passion is, and I'm going to follow it.
So you keep reminding yourself of that. And
yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Do you think you'll end up practicing law again?
I may end up practicing law. I don't think I'll ever do it, to the extent that I did it before. I mean, obviously, I'm never going to go back to first year or second year, Megan. But, I'm not hanging up my law degree. I am open to practicing law to some extent. But I definitely want to pursue this business and what I'm doing. I'm really excited about it. So I want to see if I can find a way to balance the two together, maybe practicing on a part-time basis or taking a legal job that doesn't require me to work, a million hours.
Well, and who knows, maybe this might be a thriving success, which is what we hope, and
yes.
This is all you'll have time to do.
That's true.
Well, best of luck, Megan. Thanks so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us today. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you inviting me.
For more information on this or other topics, subscribe to BloombergLaw.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.